Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm just doing NWOpening number 63, and today we are doing the Elite 102 Commissioner Foley figure. Now, I'm also in this video testing out the camera on my new phone. So far, doesn't look massively different from my old one, but I guess once the video's done and everything, we'll be able to see what the difference is like. And I thought I'd use the Commissioner to test this out before he ends up being another figure that's just stuck in the piles of figures in my house. Now, I think this is a pretty cool figure. I think if you're like me and you kind of geek out on anything Attitude Era, then you kind of have to pick it up. That being said, I still don't think it was a figure that, you needed to pick up for £20. This was always going to get reduced, and quite frankly, it's not the most... it's not the most essential figure in the world, I don't think. Series 102 was an interesting one. It had Edge, Austin Theory, Gunther, Sami Zayn with the mousetrap, Commissioner Foley, of course, and Rhea Ripley. The only one there that I was sort of interested in was Gunther. It was nice to see him back in the line, in the main line as well, of course. But I think they've sold out in Smith's now, so we probably won't be picking that up. Of course, we've got the picture of Commissioner Mick on the back there. No bio, because it's the UK version of the figure. And I think that's more or less it. We've got his cheeky little face on the side. He's pulling his jacket open to show the Commissioner shirt. Yeah, I think that's more or less everything. So, without any further waffling, let's get into this one. I stuck this figure on my birthday list. This was one I got for my birthday last month, but I just don't want to see it become another figure that's just, ends up sat on the shelf indefinitely. There's not really any point to keeping it boxed. I'd quite like to pop it on the shelf, to be honest, so yeah. Those ties on his wrist are really tight. An awful lot of leeway in those at all. I've had to just cut the top off because it's literally there's just no giving that at all. Let's see if we've got the space to get in that one in the front. Hopefully that's okay. And we'll squash the bubble. Wow, this is a bit pain in the ass to get out. Okay, so there we go. We got the figure out boxed now. The jacket is pretty interesting, actually. It's perhaps a little bit more ragged than it was in real life, but that kind of leans into Mick Foley's whole style, I suppose, a little bit more. And there are a few very interesting stylistic choices with this figure that I'm going to get into as we go along the video. So initial impressions, I mean, the head is pretty good, isn't it? Like, that's a good likeness to Mick, but it's not like hideous like some of them, like that WrestleMania Elite from a few years ago. That was horrific. Obviously, the Commissioner top is pretty funny. He absolutely shouldn't have this job because he can't do his own t-shirt. What's very interesting is that the lower body is a Mick Foley, like Mankind lower body, the same trousers, the same shoes. Now, I can't really remember. I don't think I've ever really paid enough attention to the Commissioner character, and I can't say I've looked it up before doing this video, but I don't know if that's actually how Mick sort of costumed the Commissioner character. I don't know if they were like Mankind trousers and shoes and so on. So, if so, that's very creative from Mick, and if not, it's kind of creative from Mattel to just kind of give him his own legs. The jacket maybe sits a little bit big for me, I think. It's a little, but you kind of want it more like that, but it kind of just gets puffed out. The gavel is integral to the hand it's part of, which is probably fair enough because you probably would just lose that anyway if it was an accessory. That being said, you're almost certainly going to lose the little Commissioner sign. As funny as that is, it's nice that, you can just chuck it on his desk and it just says Commissioner. Of course, it doesn't come with the desk, and you're almost certainly going to lose this regardless of age, really, I would say. You know, you're going to have to put this somewhere where you know where it is. A kid is definitely going to lose that. In terms of other accessories, we have this little succulent. Now, I, again, can't remember all that well Commissioner's office, so I don't know if he had this little potted plant on the desk or not. And regardless, I'm wondering whether, again, this is a little creative little move from Mick Foley, and that this is meant to represent Cactus Jack. What do you think? I don't know. I've never really thought about it before. I can't say I really know, off the top of my head what his desk had on it. So I don't know if that's just a reach. I don't know if it had it on there, because I know this is pretty standard, like, office desk decoration, but I think it's pretty creative to have like a little reference to Cactus Jack, whether it was Mick who did it or Mattel. Again, that's pretty cool. We have the thumbs up hand for his right hand and some open grip hands for both hands, which is really cool, of course. And then we've got the thumbs up hand on the right hand and the gavel hand, of course. This absolutely didn't really need to be an elite. Most kind of suited out of ring figures don't, I suppose. But that being said, anything that is an elite is, you know, better than a basic, obviously. And, you know, it's Mick Foley, so I wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility of using him in this attire in a match. Like, that is completely possible. But of all the figures to have gotten the double jointed elbow treatment, this probably did need to be one of them. That being said, of course, if this was like a basic or something, we wouldn't have got these cool accessories. But yeah, if you want to have a quick look under the jacket, it's just a plain black t-shirt under there, as you might have assumed. So we're just going to leave that on. Not really anything of interest to look at there. And then we'll get into a joint check. So first of all, let's turn down your collar, mate. You're looking a bit scruffy. First of all, that head is pretty good. Of course, the joint check doesn't really matter that much, because unless we do go ahead and use him in a match of some kind, it doesn't really matter what his joints can do. That shoulder is another figure with Mattel shoulder, which is, since they introduced these double jointed elbows, all of a sudden we've ended up with loads of figures that have stiff elbows. And I had a good run of NW openings without it, but now it seems I'm having a good run of NW openings with it. The bicep swivel, on the other hand, is nice and stiff. The elbow is nice and stiff, and that hand is pretty good. I mean, it's okay that the gavel is like integral. Of course, it's a bit annoying that you need to hand swap him whenever you don't want him holding the gavel. I guess stems is the brakes, and it's quite possible that you would lose it, but I suppose it's not really any bigger than the succulent or cactus or whatever you want to call that. The other arm, that shoulder, that one's actually already out. That one doesn't go in, so that's good. Bicep swivel is okay. So this is another double stiff shoulder, which I'm discovering more and more of recently. I mean, kids must be getting these figures and being like, why does his arms not move, you know? And I can only imagine that there's plenty of them where they're forcing it, breaking it, getting returned, and so on. Torso joint, I mean, that's not, that could be better, it could be worse. Quite frankly, if I was going to have an elite with a bad torso joint, I'd probably rather it was this one, because again, the joints just aren't that important. Waist is fine. The waist seems to usually be okay on figures nowadays. Leg up, knee is fine, and the boot swivel is fine, and the toe doesn't really move like most of them. But as long as those boots aren't a bit loose, like every Mankind I've come across, then that is fair enough. The joints are more or less in fine condition. All in all, I think this is a great figure. Again, I just don't think it's that integral of a character to where you needed to rush out and buy this straight away when it came out. However, I think it's really cool, you know, the details, the accessories and everything. They've clearly had fun designing this figure and thinking, you know, you get his little what would you call this? His little name badge thing? His desk badge? I don't know. His succulent plan and his gavel hand, of course. We've got plenty of interchangeable hands as well. Jacket's pretty good. Obviously, there's not much to write home about with the main figure's detailing, but I think it's pretty cool. And if I've correctly assessed that, you know, this is, you know, the Cactus Jack reference, and whether Mattel or Mick Foley were the ones that put him in Mankind pants with Mankind shoes, you know, either way, I think that's a really cool piece of figure design that they've gone ahead and, you know, they've not just done a Jax and given him the same sort of trouser legs as everyone else and that kind of thing. I really think they've had fun making this figure, and of course, as I say, the head is pretty good. It's a pretty good likeness of Mick Foley without being absolutely hideous. So what I like to do to finish my figure unboxings is talk about what this guy's going to be doing in my figure fed. Well, like I've said already, this guy's kind of more for the Attitude Era collection than anything. Cactus Jack / Mankind is pretty important in my fed, at least for the time being, but there's a definite possibility that he will come in as the commissioner at some point, although there is a fairly long line of people that I want to put in charge of DSW at some point, and I definitely wouldn't rule out the possibility of having him in a match in this attire, you know, in this commissioner role. So that's definitely something that can be thought about down the line, but nothing set in stone in the near future. And that being said, if you like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the NWOpenings playlist in the end screen. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.